Hi, my name is Kim King. I'm the Community Relations Director here at Parkwood Retirement Community. Recently, we held our first ever virtual resident panel event. And this is an event where we invite guests to ask our residents, as well as family members of our residents, questions about life at Parkwood. I thought maybe you'd enjoy hearing what some of the residents and their family members had to say about life at Parkwood.
I'm Donna Ulrich. My parents have lived in Parkwood going on their fifth year, fifth year, right in there. We chose Parkwood because of the wonderful staff and the warm community. We toured a lot of facilities and went a lot of different places. Kim gave us lots of good information about senior living, things that we were not aware of, questions that we didn't know to ask. But I've just enjoyed every part of it.
Thank you. Eva?
I have been here a little over a year, and a year and several months, and we found Parkwood because of Katie and Fred and who else? Herb. They would be out walking, and my sister would be out walking, and they would tell my sister what a wonderful place Parkwood is. So I figure if the residents are that enthusiastic, it must be a good place, and it was.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm just going to throw a couple of questions out there to get the group started. But those of you that are attending, that are our guests, please feel free to interject, or any of the Parkwood family, if you have things that you want to add on or you'd like to say that's maybe not one of the questions, feel free to say anything that you think is helpful. This is predominantly for people who are thinking about independent living, they're thinking about senior living options for either them or a family member. And this is designed to just be helpful and let them hear from the experts, the people who have truly helped their family members through this process, and those of you that have gone through it firsthand. So the first question I'll ask, just to get it started, and any of you can answer or all of you can answer. When you were thinking about senior living, what was the number one thing that made you decide now was the time? Now was the time to explore the options and make a decision.
One of the things that we did, we didn't have it, we weren't at a point that we needed it. We felt we needed to come and look at places to be ready to go. And we wanted to be able to move in while we were still able to move around ourselves. And as we aged, we would have the facilities available to us.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Eddie, Donna, Eva, anybody have anything to add to that?
I do. Kim had a seminar a few months before I decided to move in, and she had a realtor, a plumber, construction guy, a roofer, and all kinds of people that were really made me want to move, because having my own home and having all of those problems, there was no question that I went with a realtor and it worked out just wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Donna, Eva, Sue, you've got something else?
We have friends since we've moved here that have come to look at it, and they don't want to turn loose of what they have at home. And I tell them, if you make up your mind, that stuff is not going to matter. And it didn't.
Good advice, Sue.
Has to start in the mind.
Now, let's go on record as saying that when Sue moved in, it was like 3 hours later and she had her placemats on her table and it looked like she had lived there for 5 years. So she might be slightly organized. We're not sure, but she might just be a little organized.
Okay.
Okay, so next question. What did you find was the most difficult hurdle to overcome when deciding to make the move?
We didn't have one. We knew it was right.
Okay. Thank you. Uh-oh, Eddie, you're on mute. Hold on. Go ahead and unmute, Eddie. I can see you talking. There you go.
Was all of the stuff I had accumulated over the years. A collection of cups and saucers, a collection of crystal, a collection of this and all of that.
Uh-oh, Eddie's frozen. Well, good old technology. All right, let's keep going and see if we can get Eddie back. Donna, you want to say anything about what the challenge was for your parents? Because I know they had some challenges too.
So they lived out of state and they were having some problems with health and just things that come with age with organization and trying to navigate and making decisions, things like that. And so the commute was too much. I mean, trying to help parents that lived out of state. I mean, we did everything that we could, but it just kind of came to a conclusion that we needed to make some better decisions. So moving to Texas was in the plans, but we didn't know when, we didn't know where, we didn't know how. So I started out by just looking at senior communities. I thought, well, I didn't know a whole lot about it. I visited people in a nursing home before or in a rehab facility, but never a senior living. I wasn't real up on that. So I went to a couple of different places and started to learn. The hardest decision was kind of tearing off that Band-Aid. It was like, we need to make some decisions that will help long-term. And, we all, kids are your kids. If you have children, they have family decisions, our family obligations, work obligations, and they love their parents. And so you're torn in all these different directions trying to figure out what to do. And when we visited at Parkwood, we found a community, a family of people that just seemed to genuinely care about the well-being of their residents. And I have not been disappointed. After Mom and Joe moved here, there were still doubts, and, it's a transitional period. You're changing your whole lifestyle. But I'm 59 years old and I've learned a whole lot. So I know kind of what I want to do in a couple of years, I do. And, we can make a better choice, but I think it's a whole lot, it's education, learning what's best. And this was for us.
Anybody else have anything to add to that? Okay, so the next question. When you were looking at retirement communities, what made Parkwood stand out? Or what made you pick or select Parkwood? And be honest, you don't have to, I want you to share with the group so that the guests have, an opportunity to learn from your experience.
The physical facility was part of it, in that when we have access to the outside, we're not confined into a hallway somewhere. We have a balcony that we can get on when the weather's good. We have an inside gazebo where people can gather if they choose to. So having options made it a lot easier than thinking we were confined into a room down a hallway.
Anybody else? Eddie? Uh-oh, Eddie, you're on mute.
Okay. I agree with Gil, having the outside entry, plus we have a wonderful balcony or patio that we open spaces that we feel very comfortable shut cooking or whatever. So I think that's one of the most important things.
Okay.
Our
Hey,
daughter,
Can I share one more?
surprised when we made this statement on our own. She
Say that
considered it-
again, Sue.
Our daughter was very pleased when she found out that we were willing to do this, ready to do it. She didn't have to make the decision. And she considers that a gift to her.
It is. I have one more thing to interject that somebody might notice when they come in, when you talk about the outside part of it. One of the things that we were terribly concerned about, and maybe somebody else is too, you've got to walk to go get your meals pre-COVID and hopefully post-COVID. You get to get up and walk and go get your meals. And I thought, well, they'll have to get up and get dressed and go outside to have breakfast. And I thought that's really awful. I like to eat breakfast in my bathrobe. And then I talked to a counselor about it and they said, think about what that will do for their well-being to get up, get dressed, and get out. And wow, it really was. It was that motivation to get up and get going, which was lacking. So if you're looking at that piece of it, it's not a negative. I thought it was, but it's not.
But you have the choice. If you don't want to get up and go down to the lunchroom, you don't have to.
Like me.
Well, thank you. Anybody else have anything to add on that? Okay, next question. What was your biggest fear?
That we made the wrong decision. You're always second guessing yourself. Did we make the right decision? Sell a home, get rid of half what you had to fit in. And in our case, there was no second decision or second guessing in that aspect of it.
Okay, that's very good. Anybody else? Eva, Eddie, Donna?
Elizabeth.
Technical support.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Technical support. Donna, do you know what your parents' biggest fear was?
I think there was lots of unknowns. Anytime, everybody looks back, if you've had the opportunity to move and change states or change houses, you don't know what to expect. Am I going to fit in? Are people going to like me? And am I going to be happy here? I think those were some of the fears.
Donna, your mother is very welcoming.
Yep.
And Joe is the cracker person. He keeps the bowl full of crackers.
Eva, I know you had some concerns about retirement living. You want to share any of your thoughts?
I think I was afraid of losing my independence because that's very important to me. And I did not. I still feel very comfortable here as I did in my own apartment. So it was not a problem.
Okay.
Of course, I'm very, very dependent on Kim King and Mark Richardson to bring me some food.
Well, we like bringing you food. We like to have the opportunity to see everybody. So we have a second motive, not only to bring the food, but we do like to get a chance to say hi to everybody as often as we can.
I was impressed with the fact when we moved in, the first day we were here, the staff, the kitchen help, everybody called us by our first name. And I'm just amazed that you all can do that.
Thank you. Okay, any questions? Any questions from the audience? Does anybody out there have any questions that they want to ask? We can keep going down my list, but if there's something that someone else would like to ask, I certainly want to make sure you get your questions answered. Okay, I don't see anybody raising their hand quite yet. All right, so name one thing that you didn't know about retirement living before you moved in. Is there anything that you didn't know or you didn't expect?
I didn't expect to enjoy it so much.
Well, I'm glad you do.
An opportunity for socializing because my independence got in the way so often of making an effort like Eddie does to socialize. And here there's a lot of people that make that effort for me, and it's very helpful. And I have worked on that aspect of my personality since I've been here, trying to be a little bit more social.
Kim, I think there was a concern about giving up so much of the goods that we had accumulated over the last 70 years of marriage. Would we be able to get along without all of these things? And for the most part, didn't miss any of it except my garage.
I think we all struggle with our stuff, regardless of age. I think we're all struggling and we all think we can't live without it. I think that's happening at all ages, but I hear that quite a bit, that stuff is one of the biggest challenges. And I don't know if it's the stuff that, if people feel that they can't live without it or they just don't want to deal with it. I don't know, or if it's a combination.
Mhm.
It's a combination. We didn't have that problem, like I said. Once we made up our mind, that was it. And we didn't have a garage sale. We gave everything away.
Oh, wow.
Starting
Okay.
with the grandkids.
All right, anybody else have anything to add? Okay, last question. I won't keep everybody for extended periods of time, then we'll open it up if there's anybody in the, any of our guests that want to ask anything. What's your favorite thing about living at Parkwood?
The staff, the support that we receive.
Oh, thank you, Gil. That's very nice.
I agree. And also the social activities. There's so much going on that I don't have time to go to all of them, but you can make your choices.
Well, that's because you're hosting dinner parties.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID.
Did you know that I looked at the roster last year and I have invited 31 different people from Parkwood to my home at different times.
Eddie's the social director of her building for sure.
And she likes to cook.
I know.
One of my blessings is I don't cook anymore.
Donna, from your perspective, it doesn't have to be from your parents, from an adult child's perspective, what's one of your favorite things about Parkwood?
We can not worry. We know that, there's little door pins. So if you don't move your pin, somebody checks on you if you haven't been out for a while, that kind of thing. My parents did not wear their little necklaces with buzzers for a long time, but we've convinced them now that that's a good thing. you know, when an emergency happens, it's hard to think straight for anybody. It's hard for, you know, a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old or an 80-year-old to process and think clearly in an emergency if you're not trained for that. But if you can learn to click a button, you can have help right away. So when I go to sleep at night, I don't worry if my mom and dad are okay. I know that they're going to be okay, that they can get help at a moment's notice, and that other people are looking in and checking on them. There's just a whole lot of safety and comfort, and it's not just people that are paid to take care of them or paid to check in on them. It's a whole community. It's not just the paid staff at Parkwood, it's the residents. They are community, and the people that work at Parkwood, you know, they work to get paid. That's their job, and we appreciate that, but they also care about their residents. They have a personal investment, and there's just so much security and comfort that comes with that. So that to me is the very best thing. Right now in the COVID situation, we see tireless workers at Parkwood community. They're up at the crack of dawn. They're smiling when they bring food to my mom and dad. It's not a burden to them, although it's 110 degrees outside, and you know that's their third building, and they're tired. But they still smile and, you know, bring something pleasant to that room, that little apartment, which, you know, is a great little apartment, but they just bring that ray of sunshine. We were there Sunday afternoon. Reggie brought dinner to them, lunch to them. He's got music playing. He's grinning from ear to ear underneath his mask, in gloves in the heat. And what kind of, you know, you can't pay for that. That's how I feel about it.
One thing that some places don't have is this, what she was talking about around her neck. All of us were given this button, either as a bracelet or to hang around our neck, and we can push that button and someone is here to be here immediately. And if we can't think to call ERR, they do it. So people that live alone, this is very important.
Yes, it is.
Okay, anybody else have anything? Thank you. Does anybody have anything to add on what's their favorite thing about Parkwood? Anyone else?
I just like the looks of it. Has a very good impression when you drive up to it. Especially our buildings here that are built around the beautiful square. It's like having a park right out your door.
The green space is nice. All the trees, for sure.
Yes.
Eva, you were going to say something?
I think you can just call it the helpers, the people here. That's the important thing. Everybody here is a helper, the residents and the staff. And it's wonderful to know that you're supported.
Thank you. Anybody else?
And we're almost in the shadow of HEB Medical Center. If we need to go somewhere, it's right there.
Hopefully you don't need to go there. It is nice to have it close, don't get me wrong, but hopefully you don't need to go there.
I've been there 4 or 5 times and I love it. I mean, if I have to go to hospital, that's where I go.
That's a good way of looking at it, Sue. If you have to go, it's the one you want to go to.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any questions from anybody? Okay. Well, thank you all very much for all of your time, and thank you to all of our guests for attending. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, and we're fortunate as employees to be part of a family. We truly feel like it's our home away from home. We feel like you all are our family. We see most of you more than we see our family. We spend more time here. I mean, really, most of us spend more time here than we do at home. And so we're the blessed ones that get to be here with all of you. So thank you very much. And Thanks to Donna and Sue and Gil and Eva and Eddie for participating. And of course, Elizabeth, who is the tech support running around to all these buildings helping everyone. So we appreciate.
Are you
Go ahead,
going to be
Sue.
able to edit this so it makes sense?
I can't edit anything, Sue. I barely got this whole thing turned on. Like I said, I can operate my cell phone on a good day, and past that, it's probably not. We're probably not going to go much farther. But Elizabeth's pretty good technology-wise.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and thanks again to all of you for all of your support. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.